Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's jump right into this. We spend so much time, optimizing our daily routines, our workouts, our tech stacks. But what if I told you that ancient Buddhist psychology actually mapped out the ultimate system upgrade for the human mind itself, right? It's called the Appana Javana mind door thought processes. And honestly, it completely blew my mind to realize this isn't just some vague theory. It is a precise, literally step-by-step breakdown of how consciousness fundamentally shifts gears into completely new realities. Let's figure this whole thing out together.
So here's a quick question for you. How many exact frames or, distinct sequential steps do you think a single thought process takes when your mind achieves absolute, ultimate tranquility? Just pause for a second and take a real guess. Because in the Abhidhamma, consciousness isn't just this blurry soup. It's a sequence of rapid-fire events. Think of it exactly like frames in a video game running at an incredibly high frame rate. And today, we're going to look at the exact button combos your mind presses to unlock these absolute highest states.
Okay, so to understand what we're actually trying to unlock here, we really have to look at the ultimate character stat sheet. There are exactly 26 of these high-level Appana consciousnesses. It breaks down like this. You've got 10 in the fine material sphere. That's 5 wholesome and 5 functional. Then 8 in the immaterial sphere. Again, 4 wholesome, 4 functional. And then we hit the absolute pinnacle, 8 supramundane consciousnesses, which are divided into 4 path and 4 fruition consciousnesses. Basically, these 26 states represent the absolute peak of human mental development. It's the highest tier.
Now, these 26 consciousnesses, they don't just happen randomly out of nowhere. They're actually organized into 5 distinct gameplay modes, or main categories of the Appana Citta Vitti. We've got the Jhana Vitti, which is the process of deep absorption. Then the Magga Vitti, the process of the path. Third is Phala Samapatti, which is the attainment of fruition. Fourth is Abhijnana Vitti, representing direct knowledge or supernormal powers. Pretty cool, right? And finally, Nirodha Samapatti, the cessation of perception and feeling. But for this explainer, we are going to hyper-focus on the mechanics of just the first 2, Jhana and Magga.
So to actually access those modes, you've got 2 primary paths. Tranquility meditation, or samatha bhavana, is the tool you use to unlock the fine material and immaterial jhana tiers. But if you want to reach those supramundane consciousnesses we just talked about, which, let's be honest, is the ultimate endgame goal for a Buddhist practitioner, you absolutely have to embark on the main quest, and that is insight meditation, or vipassana bhavana.
All right, let's kick things off. Level 1, the preparation buffs.
Listen, before you can face a massive boss in a game, you gotta stack your buffs, right? Well, the mind does the exact same thing. It has to suppress hindrances before entering deep absorption. It fires off this incredibly precise sequence of wholesome consciousnesses right before the Appanajnana hits. First up is parikarma, the preparation. Second is upachara, coming into close proximity. Third is anuloma, which is conforming to the approaching state. And the fourth one is the absolute game changer, gotrabu. That literally translates to change of lineage. It is the exact frame where your character's class permanently changes from an ordinary worldling to a noble person. How crazy is that?
Moving right along, Level 2, Beginners versus Pro Speedrunners.
Now, here's where the mechanics get incredibly deep, because not all minds execute this sequence at the exact same speed. The Abhidhamma actually categorizes learners into 2 distinct types. First, we have the Mandapanna. This is a slightly slower, more methodical mind that needs to manually execute all 4 of those preparation stages we just talked about. But on the flip side, you have the Thikapana. This is your pro speedrunner mind. It is so sharp, so dialed in, that it completely skips that first stage, parikama, and only needs the final 3 stages to make the jump.
Okay, let's get into the code. Level 3, the Jhana combo sequence. Let's actually look at the frame data for these combos. Breaking down the 11-step Mandapanna sequence is honestly like reading a controller input log from a fighting game. It starts with your baseline resting state, B4 Bhavanga, the life continuum. Then BC, the past life continuum. BU is where the continuum starts vibrating, it's registering an input. MN is the mind door advertence, literally the mind turning toward the object. Then we hit our stacked buffs, Parikarma, Upachara, Anuloma, and Gotrabu. And boom, step 9 is JH, the jhana consciousness itself. Just one pure, crystallized moment of absorption right before the mind drops back down into B, the life continuum. 11 perfect, sequential steps.
Now compare that sequence to the Thikapana,
our pro speedrunner mind. You notice the difference here? The entire sequence is compressed into a flawless 10-step combo. Steps 1 through 4 are exactly the same. B, BC, Boo, Moon. But at step 5, they immediately hit Upachara. They completely bypass Parikarma, ripped right through Analoma and Gotrabu, and hit that Javana climax at step 8 instead of 9. It's just a faster, vastly more efficient execution of mental processing.
All right, on to the main event. Level 4, the Enlightenment Path, or Magga Vithi.
As deeply fascinating as jhana is, it's really just the warm-up. This right here is the ultimate supramundane quest, where insight meditation actually pays off through realizing the Four Noble Truths. And reaching enlightenment isn't just one single flash of light, it's categorized into 4 monumental milestones. First is stream entry, or Sotapati. Second is once returning, Sakadagami. Third is non-returning, Anagami. And the fourth and absolute final stage is perfect sainthood, becoming an Arahat. And each one of these stages has its own associated path, or Magga consciousness, and fruition, or Phala consciousness.
But here's a massive technical shift that happens in the mind's coding as you level up. In that first stage, stream entry, your mind uses the Gotrabu, the change of lineage input, just like it does in jhana. But once you pass that stage, you're already in the noble lineage, right? You've already changed classes. So for the top 3 stages, once returning, non-returning, and Arhat, the mind actually swaps out Gotrabu for a brand new input called Vodana, which translates to cleansing or purification. It's a literal firmware update for the mind.
Let's take a look at the ultimate combo in action. This is the Appana mind achieving stream entry. You get your standard opening, B, B, Boo, M. Then the 3 prep stages, Upachara, Anuloma, Gotrabu. But then, right at step 8, we hit MG, the Magga, or path consciousness. This arises for exactly one mind moment, permanently destroying specific defilements forever, gone. And it is instantly followed by P, the Phala, or fruition consciousness. And because this is a clever Appana mind we're looking at, it gets to enjoy 3 solid consecutive frames of fruition before dropping back to the life continuum. It is absolutely incredible to see it mapped out like this.
And finally, level 5, post-game stats, or the reviewing process.
Okay, so you've hit the combo, you've leveled up. What actually happens next? Well, just like any good operating system, the mind pulls up a post-game stat screen. Immediately after attaining the Magga, the mind automatically runs these reviewing thought processes to check its own progress across 5 specific areas. 1. The Magga or path it just achieved. 2. The fruition consciousness it experienced. 3. The state of Nibbana. 4. The specific defilements or klesas that were just successfully eradicated. And 5. The balance of defilements that still remain to be tackled in the next level.
The crucial point here is how this review mechanically happens in the brain. It runs a sequence that looks exactly like this. B, beak, boo, mill, so the mind door opens, and then it fires off a rapid-fire sequence of 5 Js. These Js represent normal Javana, or impulse consciousnesses, that are actively reviewing the data. It runs this entire sequence 5 separate times, once for each of the 5 reflections we just listed, rapidly scanning over the massive upgrade it just underwent.
But I really want to leave you with this amazing piece of system lore. Remember how we said the mind reviews the balance of defilements left to be eradicated? Well, when a practitioner hits the 4th and final stage, the Arahant Magga Vithi, they achieve the perfect score. They have literally beaten the game so thoroughly that they actually skipped the 5th reviewing process entirely. Why? Because they have absolutely 0 balanced defilements left. The system has been fully 100% cleared.
It's honestly a complete masterclass in the architecture of human consciousness. As we wrap up this explainer, it really makes you wonder, when you look at your own daily thought processes, what mental defilements or hindrances do you think you need to eradicate to reach your own personal next level? What does your frame data look like right now? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I will see you in the next explainer.